A Russian language teacher who masterfully swore at her husband for 20 minutes without repeating herself once. A man from St. Petersburg who knows how to dress for a temperature change from 3 to +18 in one outfit. The boss informs his secretary about a business trip to Hawaii, which starts a chain reaction of plan changes. Lieutenant Rozhevsky and Natasha Rostova talk about the polka and the minuet, and how good it is when they are together. A man asks for a cure for his wife's hiccups, the pharmacist slaps him to cure the hiccups. The patient died of old age, but was run over by a Kamaz truck. If he had been younger, he would have managed to run away. Turkmen nuclear physicists are puzzled, no matter what experiments they conduct, the result is always hashish, cultural joke. A student torments a bearded professor with the question of where he puts his beard when he sleeps under the blanket or on top. The company commander orders digging to begin here, there, and then goes to clarify the specific location. A cadet standing guard promises to help the crawling battalion commander get up and take him home. A famous slacker says the hardest part of doing nothing is the inability to take a break and rest. Little Vovochka advises Katka to dye her hair blonde so the hair color matches the brain color. Biology lesson, Vovochka learns about stamens and pistils and laments, and I was smelling them. A wife asks the prison warden to give her husband light work. Warden, he's gluing envelopes. Wife, he complained he was digging an underground passage. An NKVD officer is looking for tilers in the camp and tries to haggle with those being led to the gas chamber. Inmates in a cell discuss whether they were woken up in a special way, and one replies that he sleeps with his mouth closed. A Georgian calls his brother, their father fell from an apple tree, and they lost him. The brother asks, did you look under the tree? A Chukchi man tells the commission he wants to be a dog handler and presents a gold nugget. 3 months later, his dog barely returns from the bushes, and the Chukchi asks, well, did you find it? A mother-in-law, visiting a Chukchi man, eats the cutlets he made and asks, why aren't you eating? Answer, the meat grinder is hurting. A Chukchi man and his daughter in a train compartment. She asks for the top bunk and says, do whatever you want with me. In the morning, he kicked her out because he gave her a kick in the backside. An American, a Russian, and a Georgian boast about the number of women they've had, leaves on a tree, fish in a lake, 7 bags of semolina. A truck driver and a Polish customs officer discuss the years the Germans attacked Poland and the USSR, and what they did in between. A customer asks for portraits of the entire Politburo in a coffin, like Lenin. A telegram to Gorbachev from Siberia, urgently send 20 trainloads of vodka, the people sobered up. They are asking, what happened to the Tsar father? A fan says his dachshund does a somersault when Spartak scores, it depends on which foot he kicks it with. Lukashin, from The Irony of Fate, on how he couldn't fail to notice that Nadia was not Galia, she was wearing a mask. Freud, who attributes everything to sex, is a genius, but Rozhevsky is a vulgar person. A woman asks her general husband, did you ever think you'd be sleeping with a general's wife? Dad explains to his son why candies have rustling wrappers, so the whole apartment can hear mom dieting. Newlyweds hear their neighbors eating a salad, but suspect it's mice. 2 men in wheelchairs find a lamp and ask the genie to give them the ability to walk. The genie gives them backgammon so they can walk in turns. If the lottery is owned by Armenians, why isn't it called Armenian Lotto? Because it would sound too much like deception. A man bought from one person and sold to another, earning 10%, but is still worried about where he was cheated. A man from the provinces arrives in Moscow and immediately finds a brother offering a taxi. An Armenian makes a complicated wish to the genie involving a necklace, a Mercedes, and a villa. The genie gives him virtual reality glasses. Armenians in a museum fall into 2 types, we have the same renovation at home or we will do the same renovation at home. At the Armenian Battle of the Psychics, a participant guesses his brother's name among 20 cars. A man, Ashot, and hair gel gave Olga a resort romance with an Italian in Anapa. An Armenian mathematician had a son whom he named Grafik, Graf. In an Armenian kindergarten, a child says he's not unshaven, but has been working there as an electrician for 5 years. Why do Armenians always drive fast? Because they have good aerodynamics, play on words. Greeks, Armenians, and Jews appear in any developed corner of the planet, claiming they have lived there since time immemorial. The first Armenian satellite reached orbit and is already bargaining with other satellites. A man doesn't wear a mask because of his large nose, to which he is told, "But I wear swimming trunks." Soldiers ask the cook what they will eat potatoes with. The cook replies, "With pleasure." The greatest discovery of the military ranks, shoulder straps, and stripes is because competence is not visible on the face. The attack aircraft was named Flying Saw not because of its rate of fire, but because of budgetary reasons. A demobbed soldier is the most authoritative soldier because he knows a lot but does nothing. Very quiet demobbed soldiers kept the train car tense the whole way. To understand the state of the army, it is enough to eat once in the soldier's canteen. Even without shoulder straps, 3 stars sat on the colonel's shoulders, his wife, mother-in-law, and daughter. Every opponent will meet their own shovel. In the army, just like in kindergarten, it's porridge every day. The old-timers had an ancient ritual, summoning spirits at midnight. A soldier served in such a classified unit that all he could say was that he served in boots. To the question of whether a military man can be smart, the answer is, a military man can do anything. The army reform was successful. Uniform by Yudeshkin, hairstyle by Zverev, manicure by Moiseev. To the phrase "I was kidnapped by little green men," the reply is, "What, couldn't you dodge the army?" Students with tails, debts, should be drafted into the army, as such a fighter is unique. There are no atheists in the foxhole. They were smart enough to dodge the draft. If you write to your girlfriend from the army too often, she might start a romance with the postman. Footcloths are banned by a UN convention as chemical weapons. The Ministry of Defense wants to adopt the school's ability to make soldiers repeat a year. The last point of the charter, when throwing off your hooves, try to hit the enemy's head with them. Why do sappers have such a mournful face/mine? Play on words. Quadrobikes enthusiasts will serve their term in the border troops as service and guard dogs. A child is called home, and he replies, "Mom, I still have a year of service left." They respect those who serve, but even more so those who want to serve. Before a fight, you should look at the enemy in such a way that he loses his composure. People should be drafted into the army after 10 years of married life. There will be no draft dodgers. A sapper makes mistakes twice. The first time is when choosing a profession. In the army, they will stop sewing on collars, but will start darning socks. Sappers teach their children to eat semolina porridge without touching the lumps. A soldier lists what he learned in the army, hiding things, not trusting, to which he gets the reply, "Sounds like prison." The commander says that an order without swearing is just a request. The conscript wrote letters so often that his girlfriend didn't wait for him and started an affair with the postman. The optimist took a pack of condoms to the army. The demobbed soldier learned that Masha hadn't waited for him from the graffiti in the elevator. If you were expelled from university, there is another road on a Ural truck, to the army. The company commander announces that Private Ivanov went absent without leave, for which he was hit by a car. A girl seeing her boyfriend off to the army looks for his replacement among his friends. It's the same story with a widow. The officer's belt has standard holes starting from 115 centimeters, which frightens the buyer. Bureaucratic phrase, investigate and report that there are no violations. The Russian fifth-generation stealth fighter flew from the Far East to the Moscow region. Apparently. A general on the parade ground asks whose cigarette butt it is. Soldier, nobody's. Comrade General, you can smoke it? The general asks the lieutenant to write a report so that even I can understand it. A poor general is one who doesn't dream of having qualities like a sergeant's. To become a general's wife, you need to marry a lieutenant and sleep with a marshal. An elite tank division was registered under the name of the corrupt general's wife. The general's young son has his house built from blocks by toy soldiers. A general calls the Minister of Education, 100 generals' dachas are unfinished. Take care of the conscription through the unified state exam. A poor general is one who doesn't want to simply live the life of a soldier. The general's epaulets are glued to his greatcoat with the brains of his subordinates. The general's wife finds a bra in his pocket and says, "You're such a joker, I thought I'd left it somewhere." The general's wife, "If I had married the janitor, he would be the general now." A Russian general complained that the mobilized soldiers do not know how to build dachas. Sometimes the general confused military duty with marital duty. A quote about how one man fed only 2 generals, those were the golden times. A nation that does not want to feed its army will save many generals from obesity. A boy wants to be a general, but upon learning about the dangers, he prefers to be the enemy. An Azerbaijani man who dreamed he was beaten up called his friends the next night and slept with them. A 102-year-old man in Azerbaijan is running away from his father, whom he was rude to. All the poor people from Azerbaijan have left for Russia. An Azerbaijani astronaut candidate, faced with a difficult question, says, "If there are no openings, then just say so." People sell tomatoes, the riot police crush them, and then they return and sell ketchup. One passenger on a double-decker bus tells the other, "Don't go to the second floor, the driver isn't there." Azerbaijani wisdom: the only thing worse than one car model is its right-hand drive version. Moscow markets are a brain drain from Azerbaijan. The word organizer was clearly borrowed from Azerbaijani. A Georgian runs into a pharmacy for 2 items and says, "What, you mean, a queue? There's a person lying there. Your son just fell out of a tree." "Where, down?" A Georgian asks his neighbor how to have a son. The neighbor gives complex instructions, ending with, "Then you call me. Do you like tomatoes? If I eat them, yes, but otherwise, no." A German tourist asks a Georgian, "Sprechen Sie Deutsch?" He, not understanding, "Of course I will, why do you ask?" The regiment commander calls the duty officer, a Georgian, introduces himself, and the officer answers affectionately, "What do you want, dear?" A man mistakes a question about attraction to the opposite sex for attraction to the ceiling. "Do you love your wife?" "Yes. But not every day." "Are your feet cold?" "No." "Well, then I'll warm my hands." To the question of why a man is following a woman without end, he shows what a magnificent end, penis, he has. To a call for sex by phone, the reply is, "Yes, brother." Georgian bees always haggle a bit with the beekeeper before giving up their honey. Georgians and logs, the one with the beard, he's not holding it, he's just walking alongside. A Georgian man with a large nose in line for gas in Moscow. A Georgian child crying on a sled, "I scream. Or else I'll cry right now." A Georgian brings 20 photos of a girl to the registry office and asks for the most beautiful passport. A Caucasian man sells cucumbers to women, claiming they were still at the dacha yesterday. A seller from Georgia, "Oh, what kind of husband do you have? You want it for 100 rubles. Little Vovochka tells how his dad fought with his mother-in-law over cutlets. Vovochka at school, lessons aren't the main thing. The main thing is to survive. Vovochka on a plane asks, "Why is it so bright above the clouds? Then why are black people sitting with us?" Vovochka and the teacher, "Why do they say you're an idiot?" "It's because they envy me." Vovochka wakes up under the blanket and says, "Mom, didn't you know yet?